Those communities most successful when coping with disaster work together to make the fabric stronger and more resilient than before the disaster strikes. The community response to disaster commonly has three general phases: prepare, respond, recover. The first phase is preparation. The more a community coordinates together to prepare prior to a disaster, the better the response will be. Preparation demands collaboration among nonprofit organizations, faith-based groups, large and small businesses, and government agencies.
During a response, collaboration is key. There are so many different aspects of a disaster response that there is no one agency that can take care of the whole job. And this takes years and months of preparation and reaching out. And now we've all learned that collaborating just makes sense.
When a disaster strikes a community, things can get quite chaotic in a hurry. So it's important to know your folks and know what teams you're going to be playing with and interacting with before the disaster strikes.
We need to talk to the key person. We need to go to schools and talk to the key persons, train them, and give them everything that they need so they can talk to families and spread the word.
Preparation requires foresight, cooperation, tenacity, and creativity.
The title of the event, Un Sábado por la Familia, the literal translation is A Saturday for Your Family. And the reason why we do that is because it's a targeted way of reaching the Latino community. This is the Fruitville Village, as you can see. This is predominantly where the Spanish-speaking residents of Oakland live. They go to work here, they come eat here, they come to church here, they come get their social services. Again, this is really the heart of this neighborhood, so we wanted to bring the event to where the action is happening.
Communities must be ready to respond at a moment's notice.
You have to be very, very flexible and try to adapt to the changing needs.
It's like a ball game. You would never think of going out and fielding a team without practice, preparation, a game plan, and proper tools. But to me, that's our business.
Being ready also means marshaling the resources the community requires if disaster strikes.
In order for a school to be designated as a hurricane evacuation center, it must meet the requirements set out in a structural survey. So engineers visit the schools and look at their drawing plans as well as roof structure, windows, different considerations with storm surge and flooding to make sure that these are safe buildings that we're offering for the community.
I do recall another situation where one of the local large grocery stores came by with a huge truck of donated food to the people that were staying here.
We also have supplies that we stock ahead of time. We do dry run drills so that we know we can open quickly. Such things as logistics. Where do we set up our registration? Where do we set up our sleeping areas? Where do we set up our feeding areas? Who is going to man our kitchen? Who is going to plan meals? All of that is determined ahead of time.
Local businesses and civic organizations become involved in the preparation phase as well.
We work closely with voting officials to make sure that when an election is approaching, that polling places are accessible and that the needs of people with disabilities are met. We're hoping that we can replicate the same kind of process with the American Red Cross and its volunteers to make sure that when a disaster happens in the future, they'll be prepared to meet the full range of needs of the entire disability community.
Most people associate disasters with the immediate response. That's because it's in the drama of disaster response that the media is most involved. Emergency responders are on the scene. Individuals and families are displaced from their homes, and people may need to be rescued.
Once an emergency happens, there is no time to plan. There is only time to react.
Communication and collaboration and cooperation. It's got to be approached on that level if it's really going to be effective.
Following Hurricane Rita, I received a phone call just as I was getting off a plane from Dallas. I had gone onto the jetway, turned my cell phone on. First call that comes through is, can you open? Not hello, how are you? Just, can you open? I knew the call was coming at some point, and my response was, yes, I can open.
The response phase can be a time of great hardship. It's a time requiring the utmost in sensitivity and respect for those affected by the disaster.
We had to hit the ground running. And because we had prepared ahead of time, because we had had dry run drills on setting up a shelter in a matter of minutes, we knew what to do, and everyone who walked through the door knew immediately what task had to be performed, where the supplies were, and what we needed to do to become functional in literally a matter of minutes.
When we're going out and responding to a fire, we're not sure what the people inside that fire might be speaking, what language they might be speaking. We have a language bank available for helping us with that. We've had people that have been disabled in different ways, and that provides a different set of challenges to make sure that we provide a place for them where they're going to have access to the facilities.
When there is a disaster, a hurricane or other natural disaster or any major need that the Red Cross needs support, we join forces with them and we provide meals so the Red Cross can take them to the different areas in the community.
After the initial response to people's immediate needs, the fabric of the community must be mended and restored. This recovery phase can take a long time.
The longer term phase is the recovery phase. It takes a long time to rebuild a house, let alone a community after a disaster. And in that, the community has to really take responsibility for themselves, maybe with some help from the federal government, but maybe not, trying to make things right again.
Being able to recover from a disaster is really a team effort, and that includes everyone from the level of a community resident to the local government, as well as the different nonprofits like Red Cross that are involved. It's a real big task for someone to consider looking after the mass care needs, the sheltering, the feeding, the emotional, mental health well-beings of a community. So it takes all the partners coming together with one clear plan and focus to make sure we can meet the needs of those residents.
After communities recover from disasters, they consider how they can better prepare for future disasters.
Our work, that is Church World Services staff out in the field, is to bring together local community leaders. Could be faith-based organizations, community-based, could be businesses, could be civic organizations. Bring the whole leadership of the community together to think through how we're going to help people who are falling through the cracks rebuild after a disaster.
We feel that our partnership with the American Red Cross is a good partnership, a very healthy partnership. But as the demands of disaster relief grow, we realize that we've got to grow our relationship. That's going to mean more coordination. It's going to mean more cross-training, particularly of leadership, both on the national and state level, chapter level, and we're anxious to do that.
The opportunities to serve are endless. You can be on the front lines or work behind the scenes. You can help prepare your community, be a part of an immediate response, or help in the recovery from a disaster. Whatever you do, you'll play a vital role in your community.